너희 잡리도 말이지. 주소고디 잡리도 뭐 사바 주인나 봐. 저도 잡리도 뭐디 나와서 지금 좋다요. 이제 강연 낭바지는 들이 잡리도 뭐 찍게 고쳐서 찍봐래. 그럴 때가 주차 담지 요거요 말이 얘한테 뭐 부지 고소 역자대 잡리도 뭐 카트라서 와 서비스 때서 요리 되네. 들이 저도 잡로 로드 잡로 로드들이 여기 냠바 참치 샤 소용제 담생 양자 참치 용 들이 상조세 야소 소용제 양도 잡리도 뭐 소요래 들이 휴라 좋고요. 저도 잡리도 뭐 고쳐서 찍래 제 강의 잡리세 고쳐서 뒤좀도 좋고 사지 뒤 샤리서 뭐 답이 주 그리 람 텔레 쇼르랑 동일 볼 소아 다다 탑동도 봐 겐드인지 들은 자루도 뭐 거기 고쳐서 뭐냐 나 겐드인지 그래서 동일 좋네 무슨 비요래 이 아무튼 용들이 저거 자루도 뭐 배그래지 들은 아게 뭐 저거래 나 겐드인지.
So we begin with the refuge vow, and so in general, if you have already received the refuge vow before in the past, all the refuge vows in the 4 major lineages is the same. The 3 jewels are always the same. So if you have already received refuge in the past, you do not have to receive it again, but you may if you wish. But even if you have received the refuge vow before, it is good to hear the introduction on the meaning of the refuge vow again, because things may still be unclear, and they are actually explained very clearly in our refuge card here. And also when we take the refuge vow, every time we take the refuge vow, it is like a purifying and restoring ceremony. We are purifying our transgressions, our broken vows, our negative emotions, and we are restoring again our bodhicitta. So therefore it is good to receive the vow again, and you may receive the refuge vow again. But in general, the 3 jewels are the same in all the lineages. And so first there is the outer 3 jewels, that is the Buddhas of the 3 times, and the Buddhas taught the Dharma, that is the Dharma. And then those who have entered the path of Dharma practice and have found freedom from suffering and then show this path to freedom to others, that is the Sangha. So today, in the context of giving you refuge, I am your Sangha. Having found liberation from suffering myself, through having applied the practices, I found that it actually is of great benefit. And I'm passing that on to you, also thinking that it will benefit you. And so for this reason, I, as the Sangha today, will give you an introduction.
대니 봐 제가지 싸워 마찬가지니 고도 좋아클리 마보용 거로 권총성제 타를 원더를 차도 데르티니 드린 마크 카드도 싸워 좋아인데 드리 대는 니는 드리 잡선로 요 권총성제 참이 하고 요리 드리 때를 새 권총성제 드리 난거 권총성제 가리 무슨 잡선로에다 드리 저랑 하게 또 싸워 제요리 사제지 형보 시라로 잡선 저오지 소소 사제를 잡서 성나 가린 로고로 사지에 쫓더란 그 샘들이 사지 쫑딩이들 그 사지에 때만 타토고란 그 샘는 것들 샘장 맞지지 샘장 맞지는 강의 샘장 맞지는 가리차고 삼등 샘장 맞지는 시랍도 바로 듣서 맞지 사지 쫑딩이들 시랍도 바로 듣서 말이 이 시랍도 바로 듣서 막 가유를 그 샘들 찌고 내가랑 그 샘장 맞지는 시랍도 바로 듣서 막 그래 고스 넘버 뭐또 시랍성 이스는 사지에 그 친구 시랍을 잡든 저 제 상세비 답제 상제 상마제 사제 상제 세비 사제니 제발 가르지나 나한테 조고산지 진빈세는 통데 동해말에 다된도를 그래서 단진도 마다는 유목박을 관계 로아를 참여를 해. 어때 잘 거는 진빈으로 삼흉계고 그러지. 너나 되는 무슨 짝선도도 최소 삼흉계도 다치 보이면 대신에 삼흉계 주체에 매바 곰나. 그 곰나 그렇게 다디 매만 그러지. 좋다. 이제 뒤쪽 탐지의 생기는 핑고 혼자서 로지 제요. 대는 저 최진이 뭐 삼흉계를 잡선 저 섭성 하설 랑관리 중에 삼흉계 맞지나? 최대전이 남바 취 잡도 양턱바 연구요 말이 취 양턱바 따는 연구요 말이. 얘를 가보비서 로 취서 로지를 나와래. 취 람도 로고. 취 람도 로가 가려야 되나? 취디 진핑을 로지 취 람도 로고. 다디나 디나 내가 그또 저 바로 톱들이 좀 나면서 또 봐 용량 좀 호화를 막 내버리 남바그 또 호요 말이죠. 이서는 최진이 뭐 시라로 잡던 저 조지 정보 계획신을 잡던 저들 대다다 들이 기준을 못 지어 속을 찐의 계획신이 탐대 남하지. 대다가 잡던 로열 때 운영이 조지 정보 계획신이 게든지 들이다 기긴 탐지를 고요리 기다는 좀 강하고 기긴 탐지를 대봐 기긴 탐지를 구바였나 이렇게 기긴이 주디 용띠는 좀 고요리 뒤서는 이런 거는 가서 어디데 막 주아리 이런 놀이 와서 저기 이렇게 사토군 되었는데나 양 평성을 돼 인지도를 새로를 저 하고 살이 카드도 사와리지 뭐 빈바들이
And so then, once we have taken the refuge vow, we also should understand the inner sources of refuge. Many times people take the refuge vow several times, but then still they do not actually clearly understand the connection between the three jewels and themselves. And a question always arises, and to them it seems that the three jewels are somewhere far away, separate from them. And in order to clarify that, I have made these new refuge cards that clearly explain how we actually should understand the three jewels and how the three jewels are actually contained within oneself, one's own mind. And the three jewels within one's own mind are one's true protections, one's real refuge. So in the refuge card, it says, I take refuge in transcendent awareness, the heart essence of the Buddha. So your own awareness is the heart essence of the Buddha, and that is what you're taking refuge to. Your pure mind. Your mind itself is the cause of enlightenment. The Buddha's teaching in brief is to tame one's own mind. That means we have to purify our own mind. And when we purify our mind, the mind itself is the perfection of wisdom. And that is the mind of the Buddha. And that mind is nothing else but your mind. It is Buddha nature. When you purify the mind of all negative emotions and graspings, then the mind itself is the non-conceptual wisdom that transcends the three spheres. So the heart essence of the Buddha is your own awareness. And then if that is the case, why is it that sentient beings are not enlightened? What is the difference between sentient beings and Buddhas? It is that all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. It is because we give rise to a self-clinging mind. And due to that, we fall under the power of our negative emotions, and that leads us to continuously wander in the 6 realms of samsara. In order to separate from the self-grasping mind, we must cultivate an altruistic mind, love and compassion. So when we take the refuge vow today, we should recognize the preciousness of love and compassion and then habituate to it continuously. If love and compassion always remains in your mind, you will become free of self-grasping. So throughout the 6 times of day and night, you should always think about sentient beings. And that is the Dharma. It is said here, I take refuge in compassion, the heart essence of the Dharma. So when we take refuge in the Dharma, we really take refuge in our own compassion. That is what will really protect us. So all the levels of the path, the Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva and Vajrayana vehicles, have that as a basis. If we do not give rise to love and compassion, even if we take refuge, we will not be really protected. We will not become true Dharma practitioners. Gampopa said, bless me that my mind becomes one with the Dharma. That is actually rather easy, he said. What is more difficult is the second verse. He says, bless me that the Dharma becomes the path. That is more difficult. The Dharma only becomes the path if we give rise to an altruistic mind. That is the Dharma. And only then we will become free of self-grasping. If we do not let go of self-grasping while we practice the Dharma, maybe temporarily we will be able to display some miracles, but we will never go beyond samsara. And we are not a true Buddhist practitioner. So the heart essence of the Dharma that we take refuge in is compassion. And then it says, I take refuge in spiritual friends, the heart essence of companions. And that is the Sangha. For example, now Garchen Rinpoche is teaching the jewel ornament of liberation. And there it says, the condition is the spiritual master and the method is the instructions from the spiritual master. So that is the companion. The companion is the Sangha or the spiritual master. But we can actually think about all our teachers in the Dharma and also any other field of learning. If we give rise to faith and respect to all the teachers, then the qualities of these teachers will enter our own mind. So in order to clarify the meaning of refuge, I have created this new refuge card. And also in the refuge card, it explains the benefits of having taken refuge or the result. And there it says, when harm to others and its cause are abandoned, the individual liberation vows are complete. When help to others and its cause are accomplished, the Bodhisattva's vows are complete. When one is adept at the pure perception of the vessel and contents, the mantric vows are complete.
핀대인종은 내 쪽보도 노는 사지가 떼발을 보셔야 돼. 잡순로 신 고초섬들을 사지가 떼발을 보셔야 돼. 고초섬을 기스 쇼파되라. 저는 핀대인종은 내 쪽보고 내가 핀바든 내가 도리성도 내가 도받아 다톡 사지가 고바로 도받을 봐. 잡이 동태래. 다니 잡이 도마디 휘네랑 그냥 앞서랑나. 지와 체력 탐지도 싸움 맞이해 버렸다 쫓았고요. 이 쪽부터 저도 가리리. 그게 넣고 오려래. 저거 드렁이 쪽 잡서 손자. 저거 삼인지 곰. 주라고 대 삼인지 곰 손나. 주라고 주를 삼인지 용나. 삼인지 용나. 지바요래. 지바요는 주로 체력단절로 또 무슨 또 바토고요. 삼인지 용은 처럼요래. 처럼은 좀 물을 모자 토고요. 삼인지 용은 주 조바요래. 조바는 도장보 동지바 체를 몰아서 봐. 내가 그 비가 처천 조바스를 하고 그러지. 타톡더니 삼hin지 나티네 타톡 라고 세비듯이 뭐 나디더잖아. 삼팅도 히랍들었더니 타톡 사제가 고마워 하고 그러지. 내렸더니 뒤돌 뚫고 그러지. 뚫으면은 이 자가 가사다라고 로르송네. 그래도 요 말이 나타 빼짝 해봐 삼지야. 약자 가면 제가 요리. 대사적으로 명성 말하나. 가보 비송 말하는 게. 비용 대답을 해야지. 짬비 돈바 마탑나 노바 가리요들 레 준비하고 그 말이지 레 준비 마시나 오 다다세 봐 다다레스 저 마시는 다다가 동네 저 강령 마실 몇씩 노바 땅나 양짤 때를 쿵하는 노바 땅송 달라다른지 니를 차 달라 땅 여러들이 차당을 내서 오는 다다가 동네 토로 망과 먼저 동네 주면 세바 좀 just 쏘도록 그랬어 하지도 봐 샤시요 말이지 왜 머리 다다 체력 다다니 내적을 내마도 통구요 말이지 내 마음 통구이더니 체력 단체를 독도 놓아야 말이지 이래요 말이지 땀이도 봐 휘송을 가시 간나야 같이 땀이도 봐 약보를 했지 약보는 협부만 했지 땀이도 봐 지금 가서는 약보요 말이지 이봐 쳐버려야 되지 그거 내 말이지 또반즉 띵송을 송을 냠래 마솜이 받쳐야 나 이송송이요 이 비용들이 와야요 말이지 나 즉송은 되면야대 탑도 다수공 받치고 나서 너만 나가 즉더리 여드송 탑송을 데려지는 다통 거와 다지네 심지 담치는 말 상자고 있어 강리들은 다다한 것은 담배들이 동해용으로 같이 동해들 좁아 탑놓고 요리 그러나 그래서 미끼양 말하고 먹이가 전나야 먹이가 될 샤과지는 참아 다 맞아 다다들 좁아 동해들 냈나야 될 좁아 탑이고 같이 탑 매는 답을 같이 작하고 싶어요 다 딱바로 톡바면서 톡바는 대그 요리 미송좀 다 때라서 받던데 샤과 짜는 말이는 유모와지 마세가 받을 뉴모 뭐죠 뉴모 뭐든 넘다 그러지 레 박차지 뉴메다 그래 넘대 마세 받을 해도 민고 얘는 dersin 뭐 가등을 띠네 레드 조마사도 양 타는 거죠 이 송수를 로도다 뭐 되는 나와 저는 dersin 좀 보고 돌아로요 말 양 망바로 사지 공방을 원소스는 최라 상기에 두고 요리 되네 양주도 뭐 톱 비용도 마서 쫑대
And so then also we should clearly understand what is the benefit of taking refuge and the faults of not taking refuge. When we take refuge, there is a temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. The Buddha's teachings are also called the source of all benefit and happiness. That is, if we follow the instructions of the three jewels. Then the temporary benefit is to be born temporarily in the three higher realms and then ultimately to attain enlightenment. So if you today receive the refuge vow and then engage in practice, you will be protected from lifetime to lifetime until you attain enlightenment. And how will you be protected? We really must actually understand that, the principle. It is when we take refuge today, then we are being told you should cultivate love and compassion. And if you cultivate love and compassion, then you will be willing to give. You will be generous. If you are generous, then in all future lifetimes you will experience wealth. If you have love for others, you will practice moral conduct naturally. And as a result of moral conduct, you will obtain a precious human body. And if you have love for others, you will also practice patience. And if you practice patience, in the future you will have harmonious friends, beautiful appearance, and a long life. So all the benefits, all the happiness of the higher realms comes from practicing generosity, morality, and patience. And then as a result of practicing meditation and wisdom, we will ultimately separate from self-grasping and attain enlightenment. But in order to accomplish all that, we must practice with diligence. Without diligence, even if we were to memorize all the Buddha's teachings, it would be of no benefit to us. There are some scholars who have studied much, all the scriptures, but still they encounter difficulties. So it is important to engage in practice, just as Gambopa had said. And so if we do not receive the refuge vow, what is the harm in that? It is that then we do not understand the workings of karma, and we think that things just happen like that for no reason. And then if somebody harms us, then we will blame them and we will hate them as our enemies. And we will be attached to our family and friends. And accumulate much karma driven by attachment and aversion. And as a result, in the future, we will experience suffering continuously. So when we take the refuge vow, then we confess our negativity. Otherwise, we will continuously fall under the power of our negative emotions, and it will just get worse from lifetime to lifetime. We will accumulate more and more suffering. If we receive the refuge vow, sometimes people say, because it is a vow, it's good to take the vow, but then they don't really dare to take the vow because they think if you break the vow, then the fault is even greater. So it's better not to even take the vow. But that is not actually true. Lord Thigden Sumgön said, it is better, or it is a greater fault to not have received a vow than to have received a vow and break the vow. So it is still better to have a vow, even if you just have one or two vows. He also says in the Gongchik that if you only observe one vow, that can lead or will serve as the cause to attain nirvana. Then we will find freedom from samsara and attain enlightenment. Otherwise, we will only experience more suffering. For example, when we have a vow, we will regret our breaking of the vow. And if we, for example, there is sometimes a situation where we suffer, but then something happens and someone protects us, a rescue comes our way. And that is because in a past lifetime we have done something wrong, but then we regretted that and we confessed it, and even if not everything is purified, although it ripens, something will come to rescue us and we will be protected. And then there's others who have never received a vow, and so they never confess or regret, and when they engage in negative deeds and it ripens, then nothing can help them or protect them. For example, there's people are born in countries of warfare, or people or beings are born in the lower realms, and there's nothing they can do about it, and nothing can protect them. And they will have to experience that kind of suffering for as long as they have that negative emotion, endlessly. The negative emotion is like oil, and our karmas and imprints are like a lamp, like a candle. Until the oil is exhausted, the candle will burn. So until the oil is exhausted, we will experience the karma. But through virtue of our Buddha nature, when the karma then actually comes to an end, we will again be liberated. Even if we spend thousands of lifetimes in the lower realms, when that karma comes to an end, Buddha nature is still as it is, and it has never been spoiled. And eventually we attain enlightenment. So that is the benefit of receiving refuge, or the fault of not receiving refuge.
Tata jamdu labza jeju ramana mangbo yore. Yinna te tamshi tata yortang, tuyutang, 가자 라서바 제발 제네 롬바초에 뒤쪽으로 뜨는 양 들이 가르치산에 들이 네바 먹고요 거요 일랑 탐지했던 선박 강리들 짧을 하자 집안 네 라니 소디면디 딱 그리고 방법을 줘래 네 시성사는 사지가 용서도 뭐 가지 못해 잡차도 요노야 나도 뭐냐더니야 네리 네 나도 덴바니리 Dembanidor, Kotok Dumbil Lame Bass, Jock County, David Jet the Drugs, they are it, doing to the Pongs, dancing Pongs. Oh, Taylor, don't down with Demba, same time my chocolate, same time my china, for this time, near half water to the Demba needs it. 랍다 디바타다 자주 가더라고나 용용지 요래 사지가 요래 랍다 디바테 라리 소디마다 하자 가르쳐보리 남미 강전에 니는 매가요 말에 좀 매와 탐지라 저는 부고 로마용 바탕으로 망보 요래 어디는 맛보지 건도에 마야
And then for the precepts of the refuge vow, there are various precepts, concise and elaborate, and they are adjusted to the place, to the time, and to the people. But one thing is that all the different traditions agree with is the 37 bodhisattva practices. So the more elaborate precepts are the 37 bodhisattva practices, and we have had them translated now in various languages. Even if you were to study all the words of the Buddha, all the volumes of scriptures, everything in those scriptures is contained in this little booklet. And the essence of that is the teachings on the two truths. The conventional truth is the infallibility of karma, cause and effect, that is, practice the cause of virtue, that is love, and abandon the cause of non-virtue, of suffering, that is self-grasping. And if you practice in this way, then your mind will become purified, and that is the essence of the Buddha's teachings. And if the mind becomes pure, you will understand the ultimate truth, the nature of samsara and nirvana. So elaborately, the precepts are in the 37 practices, and in brief, it is explained in our refuge card. It says, do not commit any wrong, perfectly practice virtue, completely tame your own mind. This is the Buddha's teaching. So the 37 bodhisattva practices are really very important. All the practices are contained, and nothing is missing. So if you have not received the 37 practices before, you should receive one today.
니 라니 소디만에 동티 소초 소독바디 너나 강도 조람 째시 장도 니는 송 니는 소장 하던 담특 담치 대우는 마디바 직장 요 말이 시제도 되니까 소소고 뭐럽죠 가시 좀나 샤와시와 동태래 니 라니 소디만에 동티 소초 소독바디래.
And the ultimate vow or a precept, and also the vow of the empowerment and the vows of all the vehicles of Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva and Vajrayana are contained within verse number 36 in the 37 practices. It says, in brief, whatever conduct one engages in, one should ask, what is the state of my mind? Accomplishing others' purpose through constantly maintaining mindfulness and awareness is the Bodhisattva's practice. So the conventional samaya or precept is to cultivate love and compassion, and the ultimate precept is to uphold mindful awareness. And that is complete within verse number 36. So within just this verse, all the different commitments and samayas are contained. And so you should always go over the things you have done and see whether or not you have practiced according to the 37 practices. And if you find that you have not, then you should confess. And so next, in order to receive the refuge vow, we need to repeat the refuge vow. And while you repeat, think that in a space before you recite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, gathering like clouds, and think that you're taking the refuge vows in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So please repeat in English. Noble One, please heed me. Henceforth and for as long as I live, I who am called, and say a name, take refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I take refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those devoid of attachment. I take refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies. Noble One, as long as I live, please accept me as a lay practitioner who apprehends the three refuges and maintains the precepts. Master, please heed me. Henceforth, until attaining the essence of enlightenment, I who am called, and say a name, take refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I take refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those devoid of attachment. I take refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies, until I become the essence of enlightenment. Master, please accept me as a lay practitioner who apprehends the three refuges and maintains the precepts.
Tata kini ramba ni de kangi, tata chitin choi parde de na, jab sum de ba nanga song ke ni de song. Dani zong de de song jo go wang de de zawa ya me ge jam, di na ni za ye ne, na jik sam na ni sam song de la, na ka chi song de la, song jo ma yong go wang de de la, de li. Song yong tong go wang de de na, rap chitin choi parde ma shi parde. 로르리 참 타라 다와리 참 때문에 든타르 때문에 니자 차리던 송통나 송때 평상지 맞춰봐 요리다 니네 도 맞다고 니네 니자 자들 송을 물리 덮고 요리 하장 답변 이거 하실 물리도 하장 덮고 요다요 도마 니네 도마 니자 자들 송을 물리 덮고 요리 데려서 안들이 쌈지 맞춰봐 비용됐다고 요리 이쪽 반지도 있어고 나 직송은 대응량대 도성 이런 많이 되래 대체신 초이 받아 대롱하고도 봐서 지마대 제시 상종용 보러 지저 받아지 현재 나딘의 송이 지피로 놓고요 막 저거 감리 다 상계 대 맞이 저 받아 강의들 점령 공조 선당 삼hin기들랑 쳐와서 받장 다른 걸 르메 땅어더니 라고 소월 받자 3년기만 땅와 뒷담자 줘는 그것이 사종용 보는 취재 받아야지 어쩌서 3년기에 막 방지 동대래 예를 들더니 와서 말라리 빠는 고직사 직장 요 말이도 해당을 고직해요 오 미송자와 해당이 소월 받자 주바고 저거 세용 그 코티 해당 맞지 말라리 때 송을 때 강리 세나요 그 해당이 지나 타와그 속자 삼바된 hin지 대제로 대제통은 아빠 마음부 나와 샤르들이 이성 동도요리 그 조고 멀리도 세나요 샘사촉 생들도 마다나 랑게 사촉 세고선을 루 다음에平庸조고요리 다다다 본이 샘진 삼지 동라 꾸루 메라 당이 바우 망고요리 배제서 샘지도 쏘고지 봤다는 거요 대당은요 매바 동무 됐다고 전제리 삼바된 hin기를 뛰네 이렇게 소리 담아대 초리 대마도 다다다는 게 루인지 속도 제바도 루인지 최 저걸 따버리 이 가디는 이제 톱과 인적 필요하지. 이 가지는 적도요. 인적 그냥 산속처럼 몇 단계도 같이 와야 돼. 소올로 바뀌어 주바고 소티 측대 양장도 신은 지는 해당 답이 득바매 주바 답이 같아매서 저기도 뭐 다톡과 다 다이지 공론 마주가 강해 주바 시합 제와 이 제와도 덕보지 주바요 그래 다들 견둥 바래 대장도 바뀌었어 정말 견둥이 견둥 바는 밥을 견둥이지 이를 바빠요 그 나한테는 kop자 도볼 때요 쭉 가리를 바빠야지 이 정말 나중에 그랬지 말 인피별로 요리 야, 이 정말 파 넣어봤다는 철 넣어봤다는 그랬지 철 넣어봤다는 파 넣어봤다는 거 말이지 주바 요리 팍빠하든 밥을 견둥이 대장들 나 밥을 견둥이 이거 책임 막 왜 주바 공부 왜 제와 공부 또 제와도 주바니 무슨 밥을 견둥이 이게 무슨 랑송하다 진쪽 덮고 그래 뼈는 생각 값도 까유값이잖아 까유값에 작업만 생각값도 작업만 와 생각값도 어디 견둥이 까유값도 담을 받아오고 소송도 못 받아오나 이 제일 주바 공부나 바로 보세요 망벌 되게 상바시와 창들이 남들 대바지 되는 제도 무슨 점주 동바 다 덕바가 되니 송사 죽버지 제와고 제와지 덕버지 주바요 그랬어 예를 들면 사지 좀 되는데 용띠 탐지 처들은 바로도서 막 독을 두고 바로도서 막 독을 되는 사지고 사지 좀 되는데 월도과 상지 대를 사람들이 대지서 오탑 대다고 톱송들이 탑이노지 그래서 내가 빈바다 다도들 탑들이 로비오리 그리치를 넣어서 어디 모남도 짜신 머리 가서 잡아주면 모남 시간이지 나다 모남 답이야나 기마타도 출연 제발 소 모남 됐고요 내 답이야나 보고 가시는 말을 또 호더니 말을 뒤바 차서는 뭐 보고도 또 호더니 잡고도 마셔고도 저로 하장 가르친 머리 기마타도 출연 제지가 무슨 제마더니 대나기 레게 좀내 제마 딱 무슨 제마 망보 요리지 얘들은 주요 말에 대담을 종들이 잠시 모난 잡들 레게도 백 까부는 데는 난 이런 하고 또 연들이 로마 로커 얘는 로마 바 까부 지는 요 이런 게 저 로마 성도 소속 로마 동안 홀로 거대기는 무슨 살이 시키라 이런 거 좋고요 그래 이런 무슨 제마 잡네 잡서 송아이인데 잡성 야 먹이 주 빨리 잡성 송지 주 빨리 잡성 최인 주 빨리 잡성 모두 주 빨리 잡성 탐지가 시험이 봐도 소리 등만 아탈이 오래 되나 소소 이시고 어쩌다 잡서서는 왜 조금도 없었는데 이치대 오래 나중에 뭐 용을 때려 등에 때려더니 잡고 줬습니다 담배 취지 비토 성상 내가 그 마용디 시보 민영양 출라 예빠이지 무슨런 게 남도 용거리 대그들이 주로 단계를 인가다 시바리에 이 저리도 맞추 살이 이 참설 배 앞에 그냥 라만 좁은 쪽 어디 아까시 쇼고리지
And so what we have just repeated, there were two prayers we just repeated. One was a prayer or a commitment that we take from this day onward for as long as we live. And for that you can take any of the vows, the 4 root vows, or refraining from the 10 non-virtues, or even just 1 vow or 2 vows. Whatever vow you think you can keep, you can think it to yourself and keep whatever vow you think you can keep. And then for the timing, ideally you take the vow for as long as you live, or if you cannot do that, you can take it for a year, or for a month, or for a week, or even just for 24 hours. The benefits are inconceivable. It is taught that if you take the Nyingna vow for just a single time, every time you take that vow, that 1-day vow, you obtain a cause of precious human body. And actually it is extremely difficult to obtain a precious human body. But if you take those Nyingna vows for just 1 time, you obtain a precious human body. So the vow is really inconceivable. As Chikden Sumgyen said, if you observe just one vow perfectly, it will serve as the cause to attain nirvana. So any of those vows of body and speech that you can keep, you can think it and to yourself and keep this vow. And then the second level, the second prayer we repeated was a prayer of the mind that we take until we attain the heart of enlightenment. And that is a prayer saying that, may I separate from self-grasping. I shall never forsake the three jewels, and I shall never forsake the precious bodhicitta until I attain enlightenment. So that is the second commitment that we took. For example, Milarepa, he was not afraid of anything apart from his own negative emotion, anger. He said, hatred is the cause of the lower realms, therefore practice patience, even at the cost of your life. So even if someone were to kill you, do not get angry. Because if someone kills you and you get angry, then that anger cuts through the rope of liberation, because it cuts through your own love. And then when that happens, the lower realms will appear to you for a very long time. So if a person were to kill the precious human body, if you do not lose your bodhicitta, that will stay with you. And then you have given up your body for the sake of bodhicitta, which is excellent. For example, in Tibet, there are certain beings these days who they set themselves on fire, and some of them really do it actually with a mind of love and compassion. And if you give up the precious human body with sincere bodhicitta, then it is not like an ordinary way of losing one's body. So the body itself is just an impermanent phenomenon. It is like a water bubble. It is very difficult to obtain it, but very easily destroyed. It is much more important to never forsake bodhicitta. So therefore, always keep that verse in mind that Milarepa taught. The root cause of the lower realms is anger, therefore practice patience, even at the cost of your life. And also it is said, there is no greater evil than hatred, and there is no greater austerity than patience. So the ultimate refuge vow is to cultivate patience, to cultivate awareness, and to cultivate love. And especially we need to have patience in order not to lose our love. Once you have taken the refuge vow, you also become a Sangha, and we call the Sangha the noble Sangha, or superior Sangha. For example, I am sitting on a high seat. Why am I sitting here? What makes me supreme? It is because ordinary sentient beings only think about themselves, but I think about others. I have an altruistic mind. That means when others harm me, I practice patience and I do not harm them in return. Ordinary people will fight back. So that is a quality of the noble Sangha. And taking the refuge vow, we become a noble Sangha. And so then you should think that I'm a noble Sangha. So when somebody says something mean to me, then I should practice patience. I should practice love. Then you are a true Sangha. And then you are really able to protect yourself and also others. As Sangha who practices patience is just like a wooden cup, and an ordinary person is like a porcelain cup. When a wooden cup meets a porcelain cup, they both will not break, because the wooden cup has patience. It is unbreakable, even though the ordinary cup could break. So if somebody treats you badly and you practice patience, then in the future maybe that person's anger will also calm down, and the person may even cultivate faith into the path. So the ultimate precept to be observed for the refuge is love, but in order to keep your love, you must always have patience. all the qualities of the Buddha are contained within that. And the 6 parameters arise from just that. And only based on that mind, the Buddha attained complete enlightenment. And so then Rinpoche will say, tap yino, and that means this is the method. A question, do you agree? And then we respond with lexo, that means excellent, yes, we agree. And so what is the method is that we receive the method to temporary benefits and ultimate happiness. That is the method we receive. And after that, we will repeat the concluding prayers, which are also very precious, just like the prayer for excellent conduct that we read yesterday. The prayers that we make will be accomplished. For example, one of the prayers is, may I encounter the Dharma as soon as I am born in my next life. As a result of that, sometimes women, when they're still pregnant, the imprint of the child appears in the mind of the mother, and she feels that she should seek refuge for the child. And that is because the child made a prayer in the past life, may I meet the Dharma as soon as I am born. So there's many stories that really show how interdependence and karma really works. So after having repeated the prayer, you can come up one by one, and you will have your hair clipped. And the hair will be placed into this little pouch that has a Tara picture inside. And you will be protected by Tara. And that is why I always tell my students to recite Tara and also spin a prayer wheel. If you really trust in the deity, you will be protected. Also, I personally have been protected many times. For example, I have been protected from the fear of starvation, from the fear of weapons, the fear of drowning in water, then the fear of a car accident. Many untimely conditions arose. 5 times in my life, my life was saved as a protection of Tara. So if you take refuge in Tara, then also she will protect you, and you should trust in that. I personally have experienced much suffering, much difficulty in this life, and having applied the Dharma, I found that it actually is of great benefit. And although I do not have any other good qualities, I really have great faith and trust in the Dharma, and I have gained experience in the Dharma. And these experiences I am just sharing with you, my Dharma friends, in a form of hard advice to you. So after you have received the refuge, you can take a short break, and then we come back to receive the remaining teachings of the Lama Chupa. Sorry, you should actually say excellent, not lexo. Because you don't know what you're saying when you say lexo. So then please repeat the prayers. Emulating all of the conquerors, may I bring excellent conduct to complete perfection and engage in perfectly pure, flawless moral conduct that never declines and is without fault in this and all successive lifetimes. May I never be separated from the 3 precious jewels. May I give my life force to accomplish the purpose of sentient beings through unstinting great perseverance. May precious Supreme Bodhicitta arise in whom it has not been generated. May that which has been generated not decline but ever further increase. in this and all successive lifetimes, may I not be separated from the supreme teachings of the matchless Sri Kumbharatna Shri, and may I be accepted by glorious gurus in all my rebirths. May I never be separated from sublime gurus and always enjoy the glory of the Dharma, having completely perfected the qualities of the stages and paths. May I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara in all rebirths. May I be of noble lineage, with clear intellect, devoid of pride, and possessed of great compassion and devotion to the Guru. Thus may I observe the Samaya of the glorious Guru. May all the aspiration prayers for the purpose of sentient beings that have been made from great beneficent Vajradhara on down to the kind root Lama on up be swiftly accomplished. So whoever will not receive the refuge vow, you can take a break now. And also after you have received the refuge vow, you can take a break, and after a little while we come back for the teachings.